Popcorn Ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yep. T.O.'s in the building, and we have Ryan Shazier in the house.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Or we going to say Shay Leave.
Yeah,
Is
Shay
that
Leave.
a little nickname you got?
Shay Leave?
Shay Leave.
Well, you just got here. Why you?
No, it's not my nickname. It's a nickname that
Yeah.
you've got from growing up, right?
No, so it actually happened my third year in the league. So
Okay.
the year I made the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
So my first 2 years, I was a first rounder, a lot of potential.
Right.
And my first year, I missed 9 games.
Right.
My second year, I missed 7 games. And then, people was like, oh, this dude might be a bust and this and that. You start hearing all the little whispers.
Right.
Twitter let you hear everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right.
So basically, I went into the year and I was like, man, I'm gonna make everybody believe in Shazier, right? And then I was picking my mom up from the airport and my best friend was in the car. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna make everybody believe in Shazier. I'm gonna have a good year. Da. And he was like, yeah, believe in Shazier. He was like, yeah, Shaleeve.
Okay.
Because it's like
Shaleeve.
So it's like Shazier and believe, So it's like
Yeah.
Shaleeve. And then after I got injured, it's like I was using that those 2 years, like just Shaleeve. And then after it got injured, it pretty much stuck with me because it's like the whole season is like, yo, we should leave in you. Like we believe that you're gonna get better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
awesome.
how it all came up.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, so let's take us back. Let's start out, from the beginning a little bit. We know you're a Florida boy, right?
Yeah.
Your dad was a pastor,
Yeah.
right? And again, of course, you were highly recruited as a high school athlete, right? Again, we talked about ourselves. We were 0 stars coming out of high school, right? But you were a superstar. You go to the Ohio State University. Tell us how that was growing up to be like a football god, if you will, and going to one of the best universities in the land.
And we ain't gonna say nothing about that loss. Y'all just.
I mean, but everything. It's starting back up.
I'm just saying. Michigan. Everybody want to take the off Ohio State, make y'all just Ohio State now.
Hey, I'm just gonna say if you look at my degree, it say the Ohio State University.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna leave it at that.
We're gonna leave it at that then.
Hey, and we own the word the. If you
Really?
look
I did
it
not
up,
know that.
we trademarked it and own the word the. You can Google it if you want to.
Okay, all right. Well,
Y'all Google that back home.
The Ohio State then. There we go.
Nah, but so what was crazy is I started getting recruited my sophomore year in high school. I was
It's a crazy deal, right?
Who gets recruited and start getting recruited at your sophomore year?
Yeah, I was getting recruited as my sophomore year. So it was like later into my sophomore year. But I started getting recruited. I was a huge Florida State fan. I'm from Florida. Okay. I love Florida State. Derrick Brooks, Deion Sanders, all those guys from there. Mm-hmm. And I just love Florida State growing up. So we had this thing called the FCAT. And the FCAT is the Florida State test.
Yep.
And we had the FCAT. And during the FCAT, like the whole standardized test, they came. They was like, hey, Ryan, we need you in the principal's office. Like, through the announcer, because you're taking it in like an auditorium, like so everybody's.
So they come on the PA system.
Yeah, they put on the PA system like, hey Ryan, we need you in the principal's office. So then I come to the principal office. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm thinking I'm in trouble because this is the state that the whole state has to take.
Yeah.
Ryan Shazier, please come to the principal's office, please. Ryan Shazier, please come to the principal's office.
So I go to the principal's office, and then she's like, hey, you need to go to Coach Davis. That was my coach's office, and then. I forgot exactly who was in there, but it was one of the coaches at the time in the office, and it was from Florida State. He was like, hey, I just want to let you know, we thought you were a great player, we're going to give you your first offer. Florida State was my first offer.
And they interrupted your test?
Sure
your
did.
Testing?
That show you what's important.
to do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, what happened to being a student athlete?
Yeah.
Clearly, y'all was athlete students.
Hey, in Florida,
right.
There's a lot of athletes in Florida, so hey.
Right.
No
It's a big
doubt,
deal.
I get it.
It's a big deal.
So awesome. it was pretty cool. So then after Florida State offered me, then
you didn't even go take your test no more, huh?
No, I definitely finished.
Right. I'm going to state. I don't need this.
Right.
Because hey, you still got to pass that test to get into college.
True that.
So
That's true.
So I end up going back taking the test, and then probably a week later I got Alabama. Then like a week later Oklahoma, Ohio State, Florida, and pretty much my junior year, me and my family was going around visiting schools, and we visited Florida. Coach Meyer was there. Mm-hmm. They just came off of winning national championships with Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin and Pouncey's. And so I committed to Florida, and I was committed to Florida from my junior year all the way until my senior year in high school. So that's like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And Coach Meyer, he ended up retiring in December. Mm-hmm. And I was one of the guys that went to college early, so I went to college in January.
Yep.
Yeah, while everybody else going like July.
Yep.
So I ended up going early, but with him resigning in December, I had 2 weeks to figure out what school I was going to go to. So Ohio State and LSU were at the school when he resigned. So like imagine, I found out he resigned over Twitter. Like is
something,
my time,
social media.
I found over Twitter, and one of my teammates who was committed to Ohio State and my high school teammate. He just bust through my 7th period class and was like, "Hey, Ryan, I just want you."
Hey, let's go. I got you. Come with
Yeah,
me.
he was like, "I need to tell you something." I'm like, he was like laughing though because he never was a big fan of Coach Meyer. So he was
who is this?
His name's Jeremy Cash. He was
he was good. He was a player.
Yeah, he played at Duke. He won Defensive Player of the Year at Duke and everything. Okay. And he came and was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like laughing at me, you know your coach is leaving." I'm like, Coach Meyer ain't leaving. They ain't going nowhere. So I go on Google it. He leaving, so then I left my 7th period class too. I just like I'm out.
Right. Because I got to figure this out.
I got to figure this out. Like I'm like this class is like it doesn't make or break if I'm going to college.
Right.
Because pretty much I already had everything sealed.
Right.
Because it was 2 weeks to go, and so I was just like, hey, this is really important. I got to go. So I went to my coach office. Like imagine I just bust in this door, Ohio State there, LSU sitting right there, just waiting. So I went to talk to both of them, and I was like, hey, I got to visit both y'all schools in the next week. Because I have to figure out where I'm going to go.
Week 2, you got to decide.
You got to know.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Well, Florida State was your school. That whole conversation, you didn't say nothing about them Seminoles.
Yeah. So Florida State was my school growing up, but the one thing I can really say is that I have a very, very supporting family, and I have a great father. Right. And with me having a great father, one thing that he did, he was like, hey, Ryan, you're not making any decision off of impulse. He was like, I don't care how much you like a school, we're not going there just because you like that school.
Already. There's a lot more variables to the whole decision.
Man, can you say that again so my daughter can hear this and her mama? You don't just take one visit.
No, you take your 5.
I didn't even take my 5 though.
You took how many? 2?
I took 3.
At least 2 to 3. You don't just take one visit and put it right.
Yeah.
To explain the importance of that.
And the reason I say that is because, like, for instance, when you're in high school, you're like, oh, I want to go to this school because Oregon has the best jerseys.
Yeah, jerseys, right.
You know
Something simple. Yeah.
Like Florida State's my favorite school growing up. You know, like some kids from USC was like, I used to watch USC growing up my whole life. I want to be the next Trojan.
Right.
But then if you were a linebacker, at that time, Florida State had 12 linebackers on their depth chart.
Oof.
So that means each, like, and it's 3 linebackers. If you go to somewhere else, it's 4 linebackers of a 3-4. If you go to a 4-3, that means it's 4 linebackers already in front of me.
Already.
Like each position.
Yes.
So now I was like, all right, I got to fight at least 12 guys or 4 guys to get to possibly playing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my dad was like I'm always gonna bet on myself, but he was like, hey, it's always easier to bet on yourself in a good situation. So like I looked at Florida State, I looked at the depth chart, and I was just like, hey, unfortunately, I love this school, but it's just not a good fit. It's not a good fit. Yeah, it's like being a running back at Alabama and they already got 6 running.
Right.
The biggest thing I can say about the Ohio State and the LSU visit, so like I was saying with my dad, we used to break down everything, and I couldn't do anything off of impulse. So we had like a board in my living room. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was a 4-star recruit, and I was a 4-star, but I had a lot of offers. So I could have
went anywhere.
I could have threw a dart at someone. I could have went there basically.
Right.
And so my dad, we broke it down, and what I'm about to say about this is when I went to Ohio State and LSU, I visited both of the schools. I visited a bunch of other schools like with unofficials, but I visited both of the schools. I ended up choosing the school that my visit was worse at.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I thought it was a better fit. But at least I got to see the other school. Okay. So you still get to see.
That's real.
You know
right. You get to weigh your options.
Yeah.
Like you said, the school you probably had a better time or better information. Yeah, you probably could have gone there, but you went somewhere that you didn't have the best experience.
Yeah, so it was he resigned on a Thursday. And I talked to LSU. I was like, hey, in Ohio State, I'm going to have to visit both y'all schools in a matter of a week. So he resigned on Thursday. I went to LSU on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I came back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I went to Ohio State.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's in December. Yeah. So December in Louisiana and in Ohio are a lot colder.
Yes, sir.
Than Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yes, sir. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, so we know what it is.
And I live in Deerfield Beach.
Yeah. So you know what it is too. Yeah. So when I visit LSU is on semesters like most colleges are on semesters. And so they had a lot of the student body still there. They had the team, they were all right. They weren't winning no championships, but they were all right. They were pretty solid. And so the team was still there. The atmosphere was still there. A lot of the students were still there. So it was a good party time and just hanging out with the guys, and it was a great time. And obviously, if you play at LSU, you have a solid chance of making it to the NFL.
Absolutely.
So then I ended up visiting Ohio. Ohio, when I visit in December, it's normally not this cold there, but when I visited, it was -4 degrees.
Yeah, get your mind right.
On my visit.
Get your mind right.
Yeah, so it was 80. It was 80 when I left home, and then it was -4 in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. They were on a quarter system at the time. So in the quarter system, most of the kids are out of school. Like once Thanksgiving come, they
fall break,
late January.
Yeah, late January. So like they have all of December, no school. Yep. So basically, it was no kids on campus. Wow. The team was getting ready for the Sugar Bowl, so they was getting ready to leave. So guys were getting ready to leave to go home or leave for the bowl game. Yep. And then it just wasn't that much nightlife, and it was just super cold. So when I spent time there, I was like, man, like my time here I wasn't having that much fun because it wasn't
all the bells and whistles that drew you.
Right. So, but I spent time with the guys, like the team, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like these guys kind of came from the same upbringing as me. It's like I can kind of relate with these guys. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I was a middle class guy. I said I got it out of the mud from like where I've been, but some people's lives were a little bit tougher than mine, and but I feel like the guys that I was hanging around, they kind of grew up how I grew up, so it was kind of easy to relate. Then also when it came to just being around them, I feel comfortable. And then with the coaches in Ohio State, I was like, hey, if I'm a fast linebacker in Ohio, if I start at Ohio State, at the time they had one linebacker. It was a senior in front of me, and then there was a junior.
That's it.
And that was it. And it was like, hey, if I beat this junior out,
you solid.
I'm on the field. Yeah. So I was like, I played DN in high school, so I was like, I can wait 1 year, and then next year if you start at Ohio State, it's either you're getting drafted or you're a free agent, but you're still going to the NFL.
Absolutely.
So I was like, so me and my family thought about it. It was like Ohio State's a great degree. Are we always gonna be in the national conversation?
Always.
And me and my dad was like, hey man, I think this is a good fit. But I was 100% committed in my head to LSU before I even left for Ohio.
Wow. But again, to me, it's the camaraderie of the guys is always the biggest tell.
Yeah.
It's not the bells and whistles, right? Because people think about, who doesn't want to be Saturday night, ABC, lights, 60,000, but that's at every single stadium.
Yeah.
So, but the guys that you bond with is not at every single school.
Right. And I think what was really instrumental in his process was having his dad, his family there to kind of help guide him. Because at the end of the day, like I said, he was already committed to LSU. Yeah. And then, because like I said, anybody, like I said, with the bells and whistles, but again, he's kind of used to that because again, being a four-star recruit coming out of high school,
getting all the bells
right? You already knew, like I'm that guy. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, feeling that way. But again, to have that guidance, I think is so key for a lot of kids that are trying to navigate and try to figure out, okay, where do I go? And then some kids are drawn with, like I said, the locker room, the bells and with the jerseys, this and that, the other.
Shoes,
that's good if you're going to actually go there and then obviously enhance and improve upon and just kind of fit in with that. But if you're just going there just to fit in,
it ain't gonna be a good
what's the point?
It ain't no point. And like for instance, like my coach, that was my linebacker coach at the time. So Coach Tressel, I went there with Coach Tressel, and I was about to go to Florida for Coach Meyer, who ended up being my coach while I was at Ohio State.
Anyway,
which is crazy. See how God works? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still got
you
what I
already
wanted.
know. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like my coach at the time is Luke Fickell. So Luke Fickell just went to Wisconsin, and then he took Cincinnati, a non-Power 5, to the college playoffs. So that tells you what type of coach he is. So
absolutely.
Like he helped me, James Laurinaitis, AJ Hawk, Bobby Carpenter,
Played with Bobby Carpenter in Dallas.
Yeah. So he coached a lot of us and a lot of other guys and just showed us how to if you understand the game like he does, I was like, man, I'm in good hands. So
what's some of the things you remember that Fickell taught you that kept you, playing at a high level when you got to the league?
The biggest thing that Coach Fickell taught me that I think that really helped me out a lot. So when I got to high school, when I got to college, I played a whole different position.
Right, you're going from defensive end to linebacker.
So pretty much whatever Coach Fickell used to tell me was like gospel. Right. I'm just being completely honest because it was just.
So if he told you to go play kicker,
hey,
You
like,
gonna
hey,
bring a kicker.
hey, go practice kicking. That's gonna make you a better linebacker. I was like,
Go do it.
You gonna do it.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
But there's there are people like that in our lives, you know what I mean? That, like you said, that speaks gospel, that kind of speaks things through you, speak the truth before you even know it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy, he didn't coach me, but he was my personal trainer.
Yeah.
I came across him through a friend in a basketball gym. And like I said, everything that people have seen, especially as far as my physique, I owe it all to him because I was gonna work out, but I didn't know how to eat right.
Hey.
I didn't do none of that. But whatever he told me,
You just go
I
do it.
believed it. He told me, go to Waffle House. I didn't even that's why I love Waffle House now. He's like, go to Waffle House. This is what I want. Yeah, when you get there, call me.
Yeah.
Got to the counter, call, buddy, what do you want me to order? Tell him to give you 2 chicken breasts, rinse the seasoning off. I need 12 egg whites scrambled.
Shout out to Waffle House.
And that's it. and some steam and he said steam my your hash browns. Sure, bro, I didn't ask
Oh,
no.
he just made you get a whole healthy meal at
Right,
Waffle
right,
House.
right.
Bro.
I didn't even know they had those.
And that's what people trust me, bro. I joke about it. I said, bro, this body by Waffle House. Because I went there during the off season, every morning, noon, and night. I was at Waffle House. I knew the staff pretty much at every shift.
That's crazy.
Because that's how often I went.
Yeah.
At every Waffle Houses, they're like 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, in the South.
Hey, they everywhere.
So again, that's like you said, when you have people that speak truth and kind of see what you don't see in yourself, you believe it. And once you start believing it, things starts happening. Then, like you said, they speak gospel to you. You know what I mean? You believe anything that they tell you.
So like I know like a lot of like one of my teammates, he was a 5-star coming in. He was like number 2 player in like whole class.
Right.
Like so everybody was like, oh, he's a lot to go to the NFL, this and that. But to him, he played linebacker. He seen what made him a 5-star. So in his head, he was like, man, I'm about to do what got me here. Like
Do my own thing.
I'm gonna not even do my own thing, but it was just like it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Very true.
Right.
I was
You was fresh.
You were
fresh
hungry.
slate.
And you were hungry. You know what I mean?
You had
wanted
no
to.
bad habits to
Right,
get
right.
rid of.
yeah, no bad habits to get rid of. So it really made it easy. And then with me being athletic, he was like, hey, Ryan, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You're going to be able to get away with a lot of stuff, but if you come back to the basics, you're going to always be in good position.
Fundamentals.
So a lot of times, even when I would be in the NFL, I would make a mistake or I would do something, but I always thought, like, when Coach Fickle would say, hey, get back to the basics, then boom. I know, like, all right, I gotta get back to, like, hey, let me just do everything.
Small things.
Just
small details.
just
A
real
step here,
yeah.
technique, all that.
Because like if I'm my technique, if I just do this the right way, my speed can just accelerate it. You know, my athletic ability can just accelerate it. But if I just try to depend on my athletic ability and get away from my basics,
And no technique,
it's
it's not going to work.
And then it's not gonna work. So one of the things he used to really help me out was just get back to the basics, and like I used that my whole life.
That's awesome. Yeah, again, he's a great coach, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, coming out of Ohio State, what did you feel like? Were you like, I'm a first-round guy, second-round guy, or you just like, I was just happy to get to the NFL at that?
No, I knew 100% I was first round guy.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Right.
Then the reason I say that is because like so my first start at Ohio State was my freshman year. I started like my eighth game or seventh game.
Okay.
In my because no, it was like my 6th game because the guy that was a senior in front of me got a concussion. So he got a concussion. We played Purdue. When we played Purdue in the same game, like he got a concussion, I started playing. And they would start rotating me in more and more throughout the season.
Right, but you didn't start until then.
I didn't start. And then in this Purdue game, he got hurt during the game, and they rotated me in, but I didn't know. So they rotated me in, they said he was hurt. And I was in the game, and then you know most athletes that day in the game was like, I'm just thinking about myself.
Yeah, I'm playing, balling.
So I'm balling. So I'm playing in the game. I do like 2 series in a row.
I ain't been subbed out yet.
I'm like, hey, coach, is everything good with Sweat? Because I'm like, y'all ain't take me out the game yet.
Right.
Like, I knew I was doing everything right.
Right.
But I'm like, normally I'll be back out of the game.
In and out,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then they was like, hey, yo, Ryan, it's on you. He got a concussion. He out. So I was like, all right. So
All right, let me pull that chin strap a little bit tighter.
Yeah, let me lock in. So then that game I had 8 tackles, like 2 tackles for loss. I dropped the pick and a sack. So then then I started my first start, I had 15 tackles, 2 sacks. 15 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. And they was just like, yo, Ryan, they're like, he's
You're
standing
a
up.
starter. Yeah, you're smaller. Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, he's starting.
Now the guy
you took
his spot.
You took on that
Now,
position
what was
and you
his
didn't
name?
look back.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Andrew Sweat. And me and him still cool to
Okay,
this day.
so
Yeah, and there's no knock against him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
That's
so
just
they end up putting him at somebody else's position, though. Like, there's
so
like,
now y'all both on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, that's just the nature of it. Because again, like Tariq, my son, he's at a school now, Missouri State, and then like I said, he feels like okay, he has the ability, he should be playing. Versus somebody else in front of him, like, yo, don't look at who's in front of you. Just worry about what you do.
That's all.
And I was like,
Control the
when you get the
controllables.
opportunity, I was like, yo, if you get an opportunity, I said, I don't care if it's 1 play, 2 play, 3 play,
Ball.
whatever.
Grab
whatever
it by the horns.
Exactly. Whatever plays you go in there and you play, make the most of it.
Yeah.
And then like, yo, if he starts subbing you in more and more, you get a few more reps here and there, and then it get to the point you crack the lineup, don't look back.
Don't look back.
Don't look back.
Don't look
Yeah,
back.
once you win, don't look back.
Right. And I think that's, again, that injuries are a part of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
No knock on your homie. Like you said, y'all still friends. Hey, coach made that decision.
Yeah.
I was balling.
I was
balling.
and-
It's that simple. I
and
mean,
it-
because most kids don't understand. It's like when you have the opportunity of playing and starting, right? When you're finally off the field, that's it.
It's over.
If that next person is a dude, it's out of your control now.
Yeah.
Right.
You can control when you out there, but when you come off that field, now it's up to the next
Yeah.
person. Now
Nothing
he's
you can do.
controlled
Yeah.
in your destiny, and
Yeah.
that's where you don't want to be.
You never want to be in that position. You
feel
never
me?
want to be in a position when this happened with James Harrison and Joey Porter.
Yeah.
James Harrison got kicked out of the game because he was fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, Joey Porter. He
Yeah.
got kicked out of the game because he was fighting.
Harrison
and then
came
Harrison
in.
came in there and had 2 sacks.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
and the thing is, like, they're still cool. But
Yeah.
it's like, you can't get mad at this man for taking his opportunity and running with it.
Right, exactly. Because first of all,
Take it and run
you
with it.
made the mistake because you weren't disciplined.
Yeah.
Had you been disciplined and locked in, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that anyway.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I end up starting my first start, had 15 tackles, and they was like, hey Ryan, you're starting. We'll figure out we'll
What
play
to-
somewhere else.
Right.
So then I was like, all right. I was like, I'm starting now. So I was like, hey, this is part of my plan. I just gotta lock. I told myself I'm giving myself 1,000 days at Ohio State.
1,000 days.
That's 3 years.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna give
That
myself.
was it.
I said I'm gonna give myself.
And I'm going to the league at that point.
No, like already. I said I'm gonna work as hard as I can for 1,000
Oh,
days.
gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, and I know if I work as hard as I can,
Then you're
I
gonna
can
get
get ready to go. So then basically, I was working. I had a good year. Then my sophomore year, I had a really good year. I had like 140 tackles or something
Right,
crazy
right.
like that my sophomore year, and I was like, if I have anything, I told my dad at the beginning, at the end of my sophomore year, I was like, if my junior year is anything relatively close
Right,
to
you-
this, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
So then, like, the year was going on, and I was, like, while you're playing, you're looking at mock drafts and
Of
this
course,
and that.
yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, Dad, like, I think I told him, like, 7 games in, I'm like, if I stay healthy, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put in, like, your grade to the scouts. And it was like, hey, worst case scenario, Ryan, you're going to go second round.
Worst case scenario,
There's
right.
like, worst case scenario, you're going second round. So I told we end up going 24-0, losing to Michigan State in the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
And after the bowl game, I told Coach Meyer, I was like, hey, before the bowl game, I just want, nowadays guys just I'm sitting out.
They skip the bowl game.
Yeah, they skip the bowl
nowadays,
game now.
right.
But when I played, everybody played in the bowl game.
Yeah, you had no choice back then. Yeah.
Yeah, so I still play in the bowl game, but I was like, hey, Coach Meyer, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm gonna leave after this bowl game.
Right.
Like, just give you a heads up. He's like, I want to talk to you after the bowl game. And then, some of the other coaches were like talking to me, like, hey, Ryan, I don't know if you should leave yet. You're still undersized. This
You're
and
like,
that.
man, I had 140 tackles. Are you serious?
Yeah, so but and they, as a coach, you want to try to keep your team good. So I
course.
completely understand what they were doing.
Of course.
But Coach Meyer after the game, he was like, hey, I'm having a recruiting trip because we had the bowl game. I'm having a recruit trip. After the recruit trip, just want to let you know we can talk about your decision to leave. I'm like, Coach Meyer, the game, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
The game that we had was the Orange Bowl.
I ain't never coming back to Ohio.
he was like, we can talk after we get back. I'm like, I just want to let you know, Coach, I'm not getting on that plane.
Right. I'm in Florida. I ain't never coming back, man.
I'm at home.
I'm home. I'm at the crib.
I'm already at the crib, so I was like, I already have on my schedule to leave for Bradenton because I'm already late on training because we
Right.
in this
You're
bowl
late
game.
in a bowl game because y'all did so well.
So I was like, I already have like pre-draft training in a week.
Right.
So
Right.
it was like, man, I respect everything you're doing, and you need anything from me, just let me know.
So you seem like a I love football type of guy.
Yeah, I love football.
Right. So how do you feel about the college kids that skip the bowl game and kind of sell their teammates short at the end of the year? How do you feel about that? And
So
what would
I'm-
you do if you had in
Why
that
you
decision?
say sell your team?
No,
That's how I feel.
I'm gonna let
I feel that's what they're doing.
I feel where you going from too.
Right,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be completely honest. So I ended up talking to Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said like he was leaving, and he's still dealing with hamstring issues. Whatever.
Different, right?
Yeah.
Different reason.
Yeah, different reason.
Okay, yeah.
So, but Michael Parsons just sat out the whole year. That's a whole
Absolutely.
different. That's a whole-
Absolutely.
like so to me, if you already guaranteed the bag, I don't have a problem with it if the game doesn't mean anything. So like for instance, I'm just gonna use I'm not just saying this is you, but like say you somebody that's undrafted, somebody that's coming back for your senior year, somebody that's not projected the top 3 round picks.
Right.
You know, that game means a lot to
A
you.
lot. I need that.
I need
for my draft status.
I need that draft
I have to have that.
for my
I
draft
can see
static,
that.
or like, hey, I'm coming back next year. I want to win a bowl game.
Right.
You know, that means a lot to you.
Right.
If I'm already guaranteed top 3 rounds, that's top 3 rounds. That's guaranteed millionaire.
Right.
You're guaranteed. You're already a millionaire.
Right.
You know, pretty much because top 3 round dudes don't really get cut that often. Like,
Right, you're
not-
right.
After 3 years, and then if you're in the top 1 round,
You're really gone.
you're
you got
really-
your 10 to 20 million.
you know what I'm saying? So you're basically like, all right, I'm gonna play in this game unless it's the national championship that I want an Orange Bowl, which is a great bowl game. The Rose
Right,
Bowl, a
right.
great bowl game.
But it's not the national championship.
But it's not the national championship. It's
Right.
not, and you can win the Rose Bowl.
Isn't it a slippery slope though? Because if this guy right this year skips the Orange Bowl, which is not the national championship game, then the next year you're gonna have a kid say, "I'm gonna skip the national championship." That's what we're getting to.
That's what Jackson did.
Right. So it's like,
But Jackson's been hurt. Jackson's hurt.
yeah.
Who is this?
So Jackson Smith and
receiver
Jigba.
from,
He's the best. He's the best. He's the best
Okay.
receiver in the country.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, but he's been hurt the whole season.
The whole year.
Like he's
so
literally
him
been,
sitting out, I understand because
he's literally been hurt the whole season.
coming
bro.
off of injury and he needs to be ready really for May for
Yeah.
a mini camp for the NFL. And he knows he's going
Yeah.
top 15,
Yeah,
top 20.
he might be he might be. It's possible, depending on what team, he might be the first receiver taken.
Absolutely, he could be. Absolutely.
Wow.
So, but it's like again, it kind of that's the only pure football that's even close to left is that college football, that camaraderie, that 100 guys
Yeah.
you're grinding with.
So I can. So to me, like for instance, Bradley Roby was on my team, so he sat out that game. He said he was hurt. Me and him joke around. He's one of my best
Right,
friends.
right.
He said he was hurt.
And you saying, nigga, you wasn't hurt.
Yeah, like,
That's what you
but
tell him.
but he said he was hurt, but then like he'll joke around and say he wasn't hurt. So it just
Right.
so but then he didn't play in the game. We ended up losing the game. To him, the game didn't matter. To me, the game mattered, but it didn't. Like one of my good friends is a Clemson, used to play at Clemson, and I was like, hey, I'm giving you the scenario. If it wasn't Ohio State,
Okay.
if you go 24-0, the first year you go 12-0,
Yeah.
but they suspend you. The second year you go 12-0, but then you end up losing the bowl game, the Big Ten championship to
Yeah.
go to the national championship. Right?
Yeah.
That next team that you play, does that game matter to you?
I mean, me personally, yeah, I'm a love football dude.
What?
I'm
No, it doesn't.
playing. That's just
Is
me.
that, if it's not the national championship,
Right,
if
yeah.
you go,
If
you win
we
24
play, if
straight.
we play in the backyard playing 2-on-2, I'm playing.
No,
That's how I felt about football.
No, so the thing is, I played the game. Like
Right.
I ended up playing, and that's how I felt. Like if I'm on a football field, I'm going as hard as I can.
got all me. Right.
I'm
You
going
always
all me.
Right.
Like, but the thing is, if it was nowadays, I'm gonna be completely honest. I probably would not play that game.
2022 is different than 2015. I
Yeah,
agree.
you know what I'm saying. I probably would not play in that game. But to me, I don't have a problem if you're a first round draft pick,
Really top pick.
top pick. If you're second round, third,
You're a top pick because why risk it? Like
You know,
again,
and you're
any-
risking millions,
Right,
I
right.
get
That's
it.
what I'm saying. You're risking a lot of millions if you know you're a lock at a top pick.
The one that I question a little bit, and I completely respect him for, is Michael Parsons. He was completely healthy.
sat that
He
whole
sat
year.
the whole year. It was
The
just like,
whole year.
He's like, I'm not playing, and was top 5. So
and he's also balling the
And he's
league,
my-
which makes my complaint just like, oh, Hatch,
Right.
you don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right.
Exactly. It's like, why are you even bringing that up?
But he's a once in a generational.
That's how I feel.
So the thing is, T, like, how would you feel about people sitting the whole year out though?
I mean, again, you have to factor in his circumstances and why he's really sitting out. Because again, he saw.
You have to be top 5 to do that.
Right, exactly. So
you can't even be top 3.
Well, that's
to do
what I'm
that.
saying. If you're asking me, like for me, no, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't. I was never that type of caliber of an athlete.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. He'd probably agree with you. I'm surprised he didn't jump on that pony.
I was about to, but I ain't gonna let you ride.
No, but if I'm like a Micah Parton, like I said, once in a time, generational type of player, then why risk it? You know what I mean? Now you're risking, like I said.
What about quarterbacks? Would a quarterback be okay doing that?
No, I have to see you. I need more tape for quarterbacks. I need more reps. I gotta believe that
for
you're
a quarterback
leader.
like that, you need to show something. You know what I mean? As a quarterback,
The most.
because
You need at least 30 games as a quarterback for you to be able to evaluate.
I would definitely say yes with that as far as a quarterback, because there's so much like that is evaluated when it comes to a quarterback. Obviously, anybody can go pro day and throw routes on air
Yeah, no, for
all
sure.
day. You know what I mean? But I need to see you with pressure.
Yeah.
Seeing game type situation, ball accuracy. You know what I mean? Leading guy, all those type of things is what. Everything. Yeah, like you said, leadership, how you carry the team. Do your teammates follow you? All of those things matter as it relates to a quarterback. Y'all defensive guys, y'all
just go out
crazy.
there. Y'all just
y'all
nutso.
crazy. Y'all just
Cuckoo
gonna-
for Cocoa
You know what I mean? Be athletic and just you got one guy.
Hit the
beat
first
guy
thing
in
that
front of you
move.
and
Man,
go
see,
get him.
see, that's the thing. Now y'all on y'all Tom Brady tip right here. It's just
Absolutely.
Hey, nah, man.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be honest. It's a lot more to it when it comes to playing defense than just going
No,
to the
y'all
ball.
got a lot of stuff to
I
get
know,
through
right there.
before y'all get to the prize. And I don't think I don't have the body type to deal with it, and my brain power, that's just too much. I admire you guys that have to tend with all these big guys. Man,
It's a whole different game.
It's a whole,
game.
it's
like-
a whole different game, yeah, for sure.
But again, and so the college to NFL is also a whole different game,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So now you go first round to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Right.
One of the best organizations for having linebackers in the whole,
100%.
from the past, from Jack Lamberts and Jack Hams and all that. Like, how'd you feel when you get there? Like, I've arrived, I'm here, this is,
So the
perfect fit.
But prior to that, you thought you were going to where?
Yeah, Cowboys.
Cowboys. Really?
Yeah.
He was damn near a lock.
They called you? They
called
said
me.
they were going to pick you at.
He was a
They
lock.
called me at 6. Like, so basically at the draft,
Okay.
I was at the draft and I had Clowney, Odell, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack. My draft class is
Stacked. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
So,
Okay.
so basically, I knew I was a really good player, but I was like, I'm not going
In front of those guys, right.
Yeah, like because
A D
Davion
tackle
Clowney
and-
is 6'7",
yeah.
240. It's like, yo, I'm not
A generational player.
So I'm like, I'm not bigger than you, bro. Like,
Right.
So basically, I was at the draft, and you try to look clean, but sometimes that come with a price. My shoes was too tight, so I had.
His shoes are too small. He
Yeah,
had blisters
so
at
I,
night.
So I had took my shoes off during the draft. And like it's the green room, so I was walking around just in socks and whatever. Right. So I was just like, I'm probably not gonna get drafted until like the 15th pick or later.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Then I seen the Steelers with the 15th pick. So I went to the Steelers and they said, yeah, we probably not gonna
You probably won't be there.
Yeah, they're not gonna draft me.
Right. You
So
wouldn't draft
so
you.
I went to the Steelers and the linebacker coach was like, yeah, Ryan, you're a great player. I love how you play. But we don't really need linebackers.
Don't need linebackers.
We don't need linebackers. I'm really surprised that you're even here right now.
Right.
But Coach Tomlin, like I've been like knowing him now, like he has little tendencies that he does when he's scouting certain players.
Give me a couple tendencies.
I can't tell you.
No, give it to me, dog. You got to do it.
So the thing is, like the one thing that he'll do sometimes is like if it's somebody that he'll like, he'll go see them a year before.
Early. Yes. Yeah.
So like, or he might like. I don't know. He don't, like you can't really talk to guys when you're in.
He doesn't show his hand.
He doesn't show his hand.
It's
Right,
not
right.
obvious.
So like if he's not like if he really wants somebody, everybody else is gonna be all over him.
Right.
And
He's
he's
gonna
gonna
go sit
Nah,
back.
he
just
ain't
like-
clamoring. You know what I mean? He's not
He's just like,
clamoring.
hey, but you'll know because like how he'll see somebody before, like he'll go to an Alabama draft day a year before he draft a kid from Alabama or something like that because just to see how he is.
Yep.
So that's how he was with me. I didn't know that. So my coach said, I'm surprised we'll draft you. So I had 15. I'm like, I'm not going to the Steelers. All right, cool. So I was putting my shoes on at the 14th pick. My agent come over, Jimmy Sexton, and was like, hey, I got Dallas on the phone right now. They're going to draft you on the next pick. So I was like, all right, cool. I told my dad, like, hey, I'm about to get drafted by the Cowboys.
Right.
And like,
Get ready.
Yeah. So my whole family, like my one uncle is a huge Cowboys fan, like huge. So my dad was texting him, like, Ryan's about to get drafted to the Cowboys. And then my phone rang. It was a 412 number. And then I have from Pittsburgh. You always have somebody on your team from Pittsburgh.
Right.
From Ohio State, you always have somebody from Pittsburgh on your team.
Yeah.
I looked at 412. I'm like, that's a Pittsburgh number. That's somebody from, I know that.
One of my homies calling. Right.
Yeah. I'm like, so I answered the phone. It was Mr. Rooney. He was like, hey Ryan, would you like to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? And I was super happy about it.
You should have said no. You're like, no, man,
no, I'm good. You hang up on him?
No, I'm good.
No, you didn't tell him like, no, man, I'm really sold on the Cowboys.
But good luck to you.
But to me, I think it was a better fit for me.
Yeah,
being a Cowboy, unless like Michael Parsons is a dog,
of course,
and but Cowboys are normally known for y'all offensive guys, really. Y'all are offensive franchise.
You're looking at Hall of Famers.
I can see that.
Yeah. True.
Y'all have a lot of y'all have dogs on defense,
right?
But y'all are offensive.
The Danny White and Roger Starbucks, Tony Dorsett's,
all the Emmitt Smiths, all
Mike
even Zeke and everybody know y'all whole old line,
but don't nobody know the defensive backfield.
Yeah, like I knew Sean Lee because I played linebacker, but nobody don't really know a lot of y'all defensive guys like that. Like Trayvon's right now is balling, but it was just I was like, but to go to the Steelers. Everybody know them for their defense. Everybody, the whole city loved defense. And to me, to have Coach Tomlin, who's an African-American coach, having a black coach, I thought that was pretty awesome. And then not just having a black coach, but somebody that wins. Like, I know every single year I'm going to be here, we going to be in a conversation like, hey, this is one of the best teams in the NFL. We're going to win. We might not win the championship every year, but we gonna be. They
we ain't having no 6-10.
Right. So you knew if you went to the Dallas Cowboys, y'all was gonna be talked about to win the Super Bowl, but you gonna have some early exits. That what you're trying to tell? That what you're really trying to say, Ryan?
I ain't saying that.
You saying it without saying it.
I'm just saying the biggest thing. Like it's like having a black coach is awesome. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that.
It's 70% of the league is black, and then just having somebody that's my leader
that you can relate to. Yeah, for sure.
But going to Dallas would have been phenomenal. It's the biggest franchise of all sports.
Right. Yeah, they haven't done anything in a while. They're projected every year. It's all about the Cowboys. Cowboys there. They're gonna win it this year. Oh, this year's our year. This our year.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, when it comes to just global marketing,
of course,
they're the biggest out of all the teams.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like when it comes to like off the field money, just the city and Texas loving you.
Absolutely.
Like my wife from Texas. Like I understand how much people love the Cowboys. Like it would have been like I don't think you can't go wrong getting either of those cards.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
So, getting drafted in Houston is a little bit different.
Well, a lot of bit different.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So
no disrespect to Houston.
Yeah, no disrespect to Houston, but I'm happy where I was at, so Absolutely. It is what it is, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, so you're balling for the Steelers, right? Yeah. Again, as your career is trajecting skyward, right? Mm-hmm. You're going up. First Pro Bowl was your third year?
Yeah.
Right? Then, of course, now do you think that, okay, I'm about to be a 4 or 5-time Pro Bowlers. Like that's where your headspace is at that moment.
No, so after I got that Pro Bowl, I was saying to myself, like, yo, this is like, I'm scratching the surface. Like, I'm not going anything under a Pro Bowl from now on in my head. I understand Pro Bowl is fan votes and with player votes and team votes, but in my head, I was like, all right, if I'm in a Pro Bowl. In everybody's head, I'm already one of the better guys. I might not be one of the best, but I'm one of the better guys in the league.
Yep, in the conversation.
I'm in the conversation. I can be a household name, but I said, hey, if I'm in the Pro Bowl, to solidify that, if I get Defensive Player of the Year, I'm definitely going to be the Pro Bowl.
You really, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Brainer.
I don't have no problem. Right. So from that point on, I had goals. I used to write down my goals every day. Every Monday, the beginning of the week, I'd go to my linebacker coach. All right, these are my goals for this week. This is what I want to do. I talked to Coach Tomlin at the beginning of the year. These are my goals, and we'll talk about how I can achieve my goals, but how the overall team goals would help me reach my goals.
Absolutely.
So me and Coach Tomlin would talk about that.
That's awesome.
And because I showed him my goals, and he was like, "Hey Ryan, I love those goals," but he was like, "Hey, let's try. If you do these here,
helps the team.
It's gonna help." If you put all your teammates in good position, because I call the plays. So if I made an audible. And instead of me trying to make a play for myself, I'm trying to make a play for you.
Yes.
But in the me setting you up actually set me up.
Yeah.
So
in the grand scheme
of things. So it's like, all right, cool. So I started. So to me, I was just trying to be the Defensive Player of the Year, try to help my team win the Super Bowl. And I was like, from that moment on, I was like, I'm going to be a Pro Bowler are all pro from this point on. Like, it was nothing less than that.
Man, that's what you should have done. Maybe you would have been a pro
Shut
bowler,
up.
man,
I
like
am a
us.
pro bowler. I am a pro bowler in my own mind. No, it's because you're as a player, right? We always set these goals. We always have. We never see the end game, obviously. We don't know 10, 20 years, right? And then when the injury came, right, it stops like everything, obviously for football. But like, how did you feel about like your life goals after the injury? Like, we know, okay, I'm not going to be a pro bowler no more.
Yeah, that was a good question, because I'm gonna be completely honest. You know how you say you're a guy that loves football. So like, I am a guy that loves football, and one of the biggest things that hurt me coming out of the game was a lot of people like, hey Ryan, you should have coached. You should have coached. You should coach. You should coach. And the thing is, for me, I truly love football. Like, every single, like, obviously the money comes, but it's never one moment when I was playing, I was like, oh, I'm trying to get paid.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because if you're the best in the league, you're going to get paid.
Paid anyway.
You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing that kind of hurt me.
Not always. That didn't happen in my case. That didn't happen in my case.
Well, maybe you wasn't the best in the league.
Shit, you shit me. Shit me. Shit.
Let me say this. If you're the best in the league, or like, the bag should be coming.
Should be coming.
It should be coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's certain case scenarios.
Yeah, true.
But like, besides, it was Big Ben, Cam Hayward, AB, and all those guys. But it was my time next to get paid. You know, so I was like,
you knew it.
I knew it was my time to get paid. So it was like, why am I thinking about getting paid? Let me just play.
Just keep balling.
And then
It's gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, it's gonna take care of itself.
Right.
So one of the biggest things for me is, you guys understand, it's a lot of guys in the league that don't really love football.
Oh yes.
What?
Yes.
That
bothers me.
And that bothered me a lot when I got hurt, because I used to wake up 4 a.m. I used to miss so much.
You never cheated the game.
I never cheated the game. You know, and when I got hurt, I know so many people that did, and that kind of that
It messed with you mentally.
it messed with me mentally. So talking about it for like 2 or 3 years after my injury, it took a while. So like, now it's 5 years, it's a lot easier.
Right.
But in the first 2 years, it was tough, because I'm watching guys that I played with that I know.
They weren't putting nearly as
And making 40 million, 50 million. I'm like, yo, this is making no sense to me right now.
And that's what ate me up, like, with some of my teammates, because they were getting that treatment, they was getting those paydays when I'm knowing they're not putting in nearly the work that I've put in. I know this.
Yeah. Because I see it.
Right. And I'm seeing it. You know, I'm like, why is it not being reciprocated?
Yeah. Man. And I didn't want to feel like I was hating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's
you know,
not hating, but it's just the reality of it.
And then it's like, people say, hey, you should coach. And then imagine somebody that really loves the game. Like, I love the game. Like, I used to be in there watching so much film. Like, if somebody was wrong, I would go out my way to watch film with them, trying to help build people up. Like, I never try to hold people down. Like, my teammates, I would always give them all the information. Like, I can watch film for 4 hours, and I'll just give you my notes. Like, you don't got to watch it. I'll give it to you. You know, I just loved it that much. And then to come out here and now you want me to coach these guys that don't care like I care. I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's the thing. When you care
that much
about the game more than someone else, bro, that's disappointing.
Yeah. It's
Especially
almost
when-
disrespectful.
especially as a coach too.
Especially,
Yeah.
Right, but even just as a
As a
especially
player, too.
a coach, but just a teammate, and then just like even sometimes even as parents, for our kids, you know, because you know I'm sure you got kids you're gonna have, but and then like I said, I'm sure you're gonna have kids one day. But even going through what I'm going through with my son, like it's like you've talked to Tariq, everybody's talked to Tariq about, man, you have the best resource possible to be the best. But he, for whatever, he was reluctant, and I understand. We've talked, and he's like, he wants to find his own way. You know what I mean? But again, why not utilize the resource? Still find your own way. But like I said, if you have the resource right here in front of you, then why not use that while you're doing it? Absolutely. So again, it's like it, and I didn't want to combat or fight him with it because it's almost like I want it more than he does.
And you can't.
You can't. Right. And if I start to feel like I want it more than you, then I'm not gonna just force it on you. You know what I mean? So now I'll start sending like little. I didn't abandon him from what I want him to become, or I see the ability, or I see in him. So I'll just start sending him like little clips of different things. You know what I mean? Just to kind of always keep it in his mind, just to motivate him, show him certain little pieces here and there. I mean, he saw my son when he was little. You know what I mean? He used to come see me work out. Would never work out. Him and my daughter just go sit around, push the tire. You know what I mean? He'll be like, Tariq, come on, man, come on, let's work out.
Chill. He might be on the phone.
He wanted to be a basketball guy.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until his 11th grade year he started really kind of picking up the game. And then his best friend, Javon Holland, the safety for the Miami Dolphins.
He's good.
They started, playing. They was on the same team, and I think he kind of got the bug. And so now, like you said, he's at that point. But again, to your point, it's like people ask me, like, why don't you coach? You know what I mean? It's kind of similar to what you're saying, but for me, I love sleep too. I mean, I ain't finna get up.
You work
That's not a good reason. That is not
it
a good
is.
reason.
They work. They work out. They work a lot of hours. Them hours crazy.
Right. If you're not compensated for that, when you're
Well,
used
you
to
would be compensated if you're a good coach because you're going to get paid like you're a
Well,
good coach.
You have to show it first.
You have to show it first.
Right,
You have
but
to
I mean-
go through the same process you have to do to
but
be great in anything.
But some
Yeah.
guys have credentials. I mean, there are
Absolutely.
sometimes credentials goes a long ways too.
you don't have any credentials.
Yeah, that yellow jacket, that's
I know, I'm not-
that's credentials
That's
enough.
definitely-
So
definitely
did
contingent.
Right.
you ever, again, of course you had some downtimes throughout that process. Would you ever ask yourself the why me question during that process?
I didn't really ask that question a lot. I might ask you like, I could probably count it like five times. No more than 10.
Wow.
I didn't ask it a lot because the biggest thing, the reason I didn't ask it is because I was always thinking more if this didn't happen to me, then it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Like I'm wishing it on somebody else.
And then also with that to piggyback that, again it goes back to when you were drafted. Like, oh, what if the Cowboys would have drafted me? Would it have happened?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Did you factor that into it, or have you thought that too? Like man,
if I was in Dallas,
right? If I would have Dallas,
to me?
you know what I mean?
I feel like I think.
Or did that with your answer that you answered just prior? Would that?
No, I think honestly, what happened, the way I got hurt,
was-
it would have happened wherever I was at.
Right, it was just a regular play.
I think one of the biggest things that I can say is I know Dallas is one of the biggest markets, is one of the greatest franchises, but I can say after my injury, the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh community like embraced me, supported me and my family, I wouldn't have rather been anywhere else.
That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's
That's shout out to the Pittsburgh community and the
man.
Steelers.
Yeah,
'Cause again, I know
that
them as an
organization.
organization. It's a very good
Yeah.
organization.
And I talked to a few friends of mine that said, hey, like if you was on my team, like you would not get this love. Really? Like it was times when Mr. Rooney would like come to my rehab. Coach Tomlin and Kevin Colbert would be at my rehab.
Shout out to
You know what I'm
Mr.
saying?
Rooney, man. That's all. That's
But
so real.
that's
right there.
character.
Oh, that's
you know
so
what I mean.
real.
That just
So
true testament of who they are as people, and they're
Yes.
human beings.
Yeah.
They don't see you just as well. Some people and organizations only see you just as a number.
yeah,
Right,
100%. So
Right.
that's I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and I think that's my injury. Obviously, it makes me look back at things and just perspective of how life is. But when it comes to just how I was treated,
Right.
I think that was the best place to be.
That's awesome, man. So again, give us your top 5 linebackers of all time. Since you
man.
played in Pittsburgh, you played at Ohio State. You
The
got people-
Ohio State.
The Ohio State. But again, you know the game. So give us your top 5 linebackers of all time.
So are we doing inside or outside together?
Just all together. Just top 5
Because
linebackers.
if
No specific order.
Because if you
neither.
do that, then you got to throw. If you throw outside linebackers in there, it's going to change the whole thing. Girl.
Absolutely. So you got to
Because-
put your Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, you have to put Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah,
in there,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, man, that's a tough one. So like, I'm gonna have to go Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, he's in the top 5.
He's in my top 5. Then Derrick Brooks.
Derrick Brooks.
He's in my top 5.
Awesome.
Hall
Yep.
of Famer,
all
2
right.
Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to pick Ray Lewis. That's another
Ray
one.
Another
Lou.
Hall-
Okay.
another
Shout
Hall.
out. Yeah, already.
Patrick Willis. I used to watch him.
P
growing up.
Dub,
All right.
Animal. Future
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
And then, man, this is a tough one right here.
Oh, this is.
This is a tough one
Fifth
right here.
one?
I'm gonna have to probably go Luke.
Keekley.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly.
from
Yeah,
Carolina
dog.
Panthers.
Yeah,
I wasn't
dog.
expecting that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Okay.
because obviously you have like all the old heads like James Lambert. I mean Jack Lambert, Jack
Lambert,
Ham, and
yeah.
all those type of guys.
Mike Singletary.
Brian
Yeah.
Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher.
Yeah.
See, I love Brian. I think he's a good player, but I was more of like a Patrick Willis fan.
P Dub was a dog. Shout out P Dub.
And Ray Lewis fan than Urlacher.
Right. Now, do you know about Ohio State's history at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
So give us your top 5 Ohio State Buckeyes. Any position.
Oh, Buckeyes?
Buckeyes.
Number 1 has to be Archie Griffin.
Okay.
He has to be. He won
Okay.
He won 2 Heismans. Nobody
Yeah.
else has ever did that.
Absolutely.
So he has
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has.
2 Heisman.
So he,
Yeah,
We get
Archie.
educated here on the Popcorn Ready podcast.
so
That's one.
So number 2 is probably going to be Orlando Pace.
OP, shout out Orlando. Yes, sir.
That's a big boy
That's our
right there.
yeah.
Orlando Pace. Oh man. Then we probably gonna have to go Jack Tatum.
Jack Tatum, legend. Played
Tatum
with
played
from Ohio State.
State?
Then he went to the Ohio State, then to the Raiders.
I just played the game. Nothing about
That's 3.
People
Then,
probably cussing me out, bro.
Absolutely.
No
Chris
history.
Carter.
Chris, okay. Shout out CC.
He played at that?
Yeah, I played with Chris in the Vikings. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
This guy.
Then,
So you got one more left. All-time buck. Put your name on. You can be on the list if you
and
want.
I would love to sit myself, but it's so hard to put myself. Man, you said all-time Buckeyes.
All-time
so
Buckeyes.
We talking about all-time Buckeyes that made it to the NFL as well?
No,
When
just
there was
whoever. It's your list.
Nah, so the thing is,
Yeah.
the thing is, if you're going to have to go with somebody that was probably one of the greatest Buckeyes, he's an underrated guy, but one of the greatest guys that ever played there, you might have to go with JT Barrett.
Really?
And because he's the most winning quarterback to ever play at Ohio State history.
He did his thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, no, we appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, I'm watching your journey. Proud of you. Respect you. All that stuff.
man.
Keep doing your thing.
I
You ever need
appreciate it.
anything from GPR, we here for you.
I appreciate
But
it.
again, mad respect goes out. We all played the game, and again, we understand the physicality of it, obviously. But again, you're amazing to have the strength to go through what you're going through, bro. And we're here on your team, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
So, Ryan, what are you doing now with your time?
One thing that I'm doing right now is I have a podcast.
Okay, what's that called? It ain't. I know it's not good as Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast, but if you want one of us, just talk to my people. You know what I mean? Talk to your people.
All right. It's close though. It's close.
Okay.
All right, so it's called Don't Call It a Comeback.
Ooh, I like that.
Don't Call It a Comeback is an Amazon. It's a Wondery original podcast. You're gonna listen to it on Amazon Music and stuff, and all the other platforms as well.
Okay.
But it's talking about comeback stories. So basically, athletes like Geno Smith, when people wrote them off,
Okay.
nobody thought that they would be where they at now.
He
one-
balling right now in Seattle.
He's balling right now. To even franchises and others, and just comebacks in all the sports. Like
Yeah, he been a backup for a number of years. You know what I mean? Number of years.
So-
like you said, they wrote him off, but I didn't write back.
So the thing is just I really love it because we just get to talk about comeback stories. I have a wonderful comeback story. I'm able to. People doubted me, my whole life, and I was able to come back, show people, man, no matter what you say about me, I'm gonna be here. And we talk about that through all the sports: football, basketball, baseball. No matter what sport it is, we talk about great comeback stories.
And I might be on there too, because if I come back on this football video, man, in the playoff, one of these playoff rosters, I'm gonna be coming back. It's gonna be a comeback. Hey, it's gonna be a comeback story for real.
Hey, just let me know who to call. Let me know who to call.
Right.
But you got me, though. You got me. I got you. Dog.
Call me. It's gonna be like when who called you from the Cowboys? No, the Cowboys called you.
Yeah, the Cowboys called me.
No, thank you.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, but
Get
man,
your
we
popcorn
appreciate.
ready.
Where can
I'll let
everybody
y'all
find you on all your social media too? I mean, obviously we do that for all our guests. Where can they find you? Where can they locate you if you have anything going on, website, all that stuff?
So the one great thing about having a unique last name, you can literally just type in Shazier. You're gonna find me on everything. So basically, Instagram is Shazier, Twitter is Ryan Shazier, and then Facebook is Ryan Shazier.
There you have it. Get your popcorn ready, Ryan Shazier
In the building.
Yes, sir.
Next week.
No doubt.
Peace.